It is Alison Lacusier here with a clear perspective, and I am here with a very familiar face to many, many of you, no one other than Anne Duffy. Welcome to the Clear Perspective, Anne. It is such an honor to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me, Allison. I'm so excited. I love you to death, and it's just a pleasure to be able to be on your podcast. So thanks for asking.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be an amazing conversation. We are going to dive into everything that Anne is doing in the industry, which, if you don't know who Anne is, you're going to learn a lot about her today, and you should know her because she's a maven and an industry leader and just making so many waves and changes to the future of dentistry. So we're going to talk all about that today, and then also just learn about how you got started in the space that you're in. And I like to start off with how I met some of, my amazing guests. And I feel like you and I got on a call like a couple years ago. And of course, I'm sure anybody that's watching this that knows you is going to, feel the exact same way that I did. I felt like we connected immediately, as like a sisterhood, as, somebody that's in dentistry, as a woman that's making big, big waves and supporting the women in dentistry. And so we connected immediately. I've seen you in so many places live, and we, in my opinion, have a great friendship. And I learn so much from you every time we talk. So I'm excited to share your knowledge today with everyone here. So
Thank you.
if you could just introduce yourself to those that might not know you, let us know who you are, what you're up to, and just share a little bit about you to get started.
Okay, well, I'd love to. I am a retired dental hygienist after 45 years. I put my scalers up in December 2020. I came back after COVID. It was important for me to do that. And then I decided to retire clinical. I was only doing 5 hours a week. So I'm a retired dental hygienist, and I am the CEO of Dental Entrepreneur Media, which I will tell you, I just became the CEO about a year ago when I decided to be the CEO of Dental Entrepreneur Media. And I run a media company that supports the industry, and we share stories. We are the storytellers, really, of the industry, and try to bring everybody together. It's a beautiful community, as you know. So that's my love. I'm married to my golly, Tom and I met when I was a junior in high school. No, a junior in college. Excuse me. He's my college sweetheart. He was a senior, and we've been married. We just celebrated 47 years last Tuesday. So that's pretty cool. He's still my buddy and best friend, still cute. And we have a lot of fun together. And then we have 3 adult kids, and they're all working in career paths that they love. They get paid, and they contribute to their communities, which, every mom and dad out there, that's a really lovely thing to be able to say. So 2 granddaughters in Chicago. So that's my life. I love to cook. I love to garden. I love the outdoors, and love a great date night. So I'm pretty easygoing. That's it.
I love that.
Yeah.
A couple things that I'm gonna have to just out you for that you missed. Are if you're anywhere where Anne is, like a conference or anything, look for the most stylish woman in the room and you will find Anne Duffy.
Oh my
And then the
gosh.
other thing is, if you're ever showing up to an event alone and you're feeling uncomfortable, go and find Anne Duffy, because she will make you feel so comfortable, so loved, and she'll bring you right into the community that she's created so easily. And I'm so excited to have you on here today.
Thank
And
you.
the first question that I want to ask, because I know there are a lot of women in our space who, they might be thinking about a job change. They might be thinking about a different, part of dentistry. And there's so many things in dentistry that we can do outside of our clinical roles. But I want to understand, like, when did you start your entrepreneur journey? And really, what was the catalyst for it? What was the inspiration?
Well, I'll tell you what, marrying Tom, he was in the chemical industry. He still is, actually. Um, we moved 10 times before we got to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm one of those hygienists. I have 7 state boards underneath my belt. And when we landed in Charlotte, Tom, came home from the office one day and he says, you know what, we're not going to move the kids anymore. I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to start my own business. And I thought that, oh, he was so smart, and I think we were going to be millionaires right away. That was really exciting. I loved actually being a corporate wife. I got no lie there. It was kind of fun playing tennis and going to dinners and lunches and things like that, being on his trips. But I was all for it. And so he quit his job. And about a year and a half in, everybody, we were sucking wind. And I'm like, holy camoles, I'm going to have to find another way to make more money and still be available to schlep the kids around for their soccer, their tennis, their basketball, whatever. And so I was working 2 days a week at the time, and I started my first entrepreneurial move. Had been using a product line that I loved, and it was a networking company. And I decided to, well, I'll just build this. So I did build the biggest team of female dental professionals in the company, and that was really my start, Allison. That's how I gained personal development and leadership skills, because the company was very focused on that. And as a leader in the company, I was speaking and holding meetings and doing all that. And that was just the beginning. I started that. I love the products. I had my own fresh breath center. A lot of people don't know that. I actually had an office, and I was on every front page of every newspaper that was around here. And, people don't realize that's not that hard to do, even though newspapers are so passe. Back in the day, you just call them up and say, hey, I got a good story for you. Did that. And then, met a guy that was at a trade show, on the trade show floor, that was just starting a publication to go up against dental economics, as a matter of fact, called Dental Entrepreneur. And he switched gears and realized that was David and Goliath, not the best way to get started, and started to go to all the dental schools. And it was called Dental Entrepreneur Business Beyond the Classroom. And so he brought me on board to sell advertising. I'd never done anything like that before, but we were successful. And through that, I learned and knew so many different women and men in the industry, through authors, through marketing companies, marketing teams at the different big companies and things like that. And then, and then Dental Entrepreneur Woman came around. So the catalyst for Dental Entrepreneur Woman, well, if the catalyst for starting my entrepreneurial journey was being broke, I'll just tell you that. I remember a patient said to me, "You'll never be poor, but you will be broke." I'm like, oh God, I'm not good at that. That riches to rags story, it's just, it's tough. It's tough. And if any entrepreneur is listening, that is the way entrepreneurism goes. I mean, some days, some months you're on the top of the mountain, and other days you're down in the valley, and you just have to be able to ride that wave. So that was the catalyst for entrepreneurial journey. And then I realized I loved working for myself. I loved working with who I wanted to work with, where I wanted to work, and whenever I wanted to work. And most entrepreneurs are, they work hard, and it's nice to be in control of that. So, fast forward, and before we started this, we were talking about our conversations with other women in our industry, and I knew so many women. I was getting really tired that women weren't getting their due, and the pun is intended. It was just like, they're not getting the speakers fees, they're not getting the promotions. There are no women in the C-suites in the big companies, or very, very few. You could count them on one hand at the time. And more, I just heard a statistic recently, 55% of the graduating dentists are female.
Yeah.
This year. And I know Tufts is like 62, and I think Penn is 63%. And it was like this, it was just making me crazy. And so the catalyst for starting Dental Entrepreneur Woman was just a conversation I had with a great friend that I happened on Thursday afternoon, and I called her. You call your friend and she's crying, and I'm like, hello, what's happening? And she was just totally bullied in her review. And I was like, that's ridiculous. I was little livid. I was outraged. I just literally hung the phone up and said, I'm starting something to highlight women in dentistry, because you can't get into dentistry if you're not smart. And I'm not bragging about myself, or I'm bragging about all of you, but you have to be able to grab the curriculum, understand the lingo, be able to perform clinically under stress. And we needed to highlight them. And so it turned into a highlighting, inspiring, empowering. And now my goal, and this is what I love, is connecting all the women in all the movements in dentistry. Because if we come together within female leadership, we can really move mountains. If you want something done right and you want it done on time, ask a woman.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I got into dental entrepreneur. And it's been a great ride. That's how I think we know you. And it's funny, Allison, I met you through Vanessa Emerson because I got your number and through her Jumpstart, but I didn't know who you were until I saw you shine on stage at Jumpstart I think it was the first virtual. And I was like, I've got to get to know her. And just it was a gut feeling, and look where we are right now. So
I know.
here we are.
I absolutely love it. And there's just so many things that you said that I resonate with so much. And I'm sure so many people that are listening do as well. It's really like when we want to accomplish something as an individual, we're so much stronger as a group. And that's something that I brag about when I hire somebody for my team and I bring them into dentistry. I'm like, you're going to be amazed and just blown away by the women in dentistry. And you're right. We have to be passionate. We have to be resilient. We have to be fast. We have to be smart in order to be in dentistry. And so I just find, and I'm probably a little biased, but I don't even think so, is that dentistry has some of the most incredible women in our industry. And often we need the support of others to kind of like be able to grow. And I'm so grateful for all the support that I've received as an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur starting my own business in dentistry and having these mentors and amazing women to help me navigate the space. And so that is something that you do better than anybody else I know is, meet somebody, elevate their strengths, let them know who they need to connect with to grow, and then not feel alone in the journey. Because as an entrepreneur, I think going through the highs and lows, sometimes going through it alone, it can be so challenging. And so you've just done such an amazing thing in our space. And I was published last summer in your magazine, and it was honestly one of like the most proud moments of my career so far. I was like, I showed my parents, like I was
Oh,
so excited. And you really have this ability to elevate us as humans, women and business owners or entrepreneurs. And so what you've done is just amazing. And so I want to ask you, like, there was a couple of through lines that I saw with your journey, of, finding a cause that made you just frustrated and furious and hang up the phone, and then serve a purpose against that, that thing that was frustrating you. But I want to also ask you, like, what skills or qualities or mindsets do women in dentistry need if they want to be an entrepreneur, or if they are an entrepreneur? What's going to help them be successful in this space?
oh, first of all, you have to look for opportunities that build on your strengths. And I'm very engaged. Everyone's got their personal assessment tool that they love, and I love Strength Finders. So that was another actually catalyst for me to know that I can do this, because my strengths line up really well with someone who's running a movement and publishing a magazine or whatever. And it's funny that you said that about, go to a conference with Ann. You might be disappointed because as soon as I walk in the conference room, I am like I can't wait to meet every single person in that room. Woo is number one. And that means win others over, which I didn't like in the beginning when I heard it. I thought it was very shallow, but apparently it's a strength, or it's a talent that I have. And so I might leave you, but you get to hang on to my coattails, and I will introduce you around the room. But if it always strikes me funny because people will think, oh, I'm going to go with Ann to a party. You really don't want to go with me to the party if you don't want to meet everybody in the room, right? So that's one thing. But so look for opportunities to build on your strengths. That's number one. Number two, I would say, and I do say this all the time, good dues, find good dues, find your people.
Mhm.
And there's so many good people. I live with, have a mind of abundance. That is something I think people don't want to share their story. They don't want to share their tools, the tips of the trade. And I will say, Allison, I noticed that about you. And that's why I think I was attracted to you, is that you give, 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 give. You don't even know anybody in the room. You're just giving all this information away, and they can take it and make it their own. And that's a very generous mindset. So have a generous mindset, be humble. Of course, you've got to be humble because you don't know everything. And
Mhm.
so many times people have this great idea, but they're not listening to, like, oh, maybe there might be a problem here, or like, look, have you thought about this? So I think that's important.
Mhm.
And one of the last things I would say, and there's so many principles that I believe in, but start and don't stop. And I know so many men and women that have started some. It's not easy. That's why most businesses don't thrive and last more than, the first 2 years they're dead. I mean, Tom, my husband, is still in the same business he started 20, what is it now? Over 20 years ago. And I mean, if he would have stopped as many times as he was like, it felt like he was failing, or as many times as like, if you're listening to me, ladies, I'm having my 6-month meltdown. Like, can't you go back to corporate dentistry? I mean, not corporate dentistry. That, that's our mojo, right? Corporate.
Yeah.
But can't you go back to corporate? He would never. He goes, I'm never going back. And it was just so funny because he never gave up, and that he led the charge in the family. So I have that: start, don't stop,
Yeah.
and see it to fruition. So it takes a while, and it's a lot of fun if you don't give up.
Absolutely. And I think something that I've heard before too, and I've, in my business, especially this year, like you and I have talked about, if you want to grow, you like trust that the universe is going to bring you some growth, and growth is not easy. We think like, oh, I want to grow and I want to, I want to do these things, and amazing, and buckle up for growth because it's not comfy. It's not easy, but if you don't stop and you just rest when you're tired instead of give up, you're going to be able to make it through. And so I love all of that. I think it's so important. And just also to know that you're not alone in these pursuits. There are so many women in dentistry that have, even if they're 1 month ahead of you, they can look back and offer some insight on that mistake or that failure. But like we know that, after many failures, they're not actually failures. It's just really course correction or redirection and just growing in a different way. And so I love that you share your vulnerabilities like that and just help people know that it's going to be okay to go through some hard things. And yeah, don't give up because
And I also think women need each other, because we sometimes don't realize that we're burnt out and need to take care of ourselves. And that is a trend now. I mean, this is so interesting that we are starting to take some ownership in how we feel, right?
Mhm.
And so you need people to say, take a break. It's okay. It'll be there tomorrow, right?
100%, 100%. And I have to say, like, I coach a lot of dentists, a lot of female dentists, which I love because I get, to see their mindset and their brilliance and, help them overcome so many things in the industry. And one thing I always say is like every quarter, take 2 days to rest and relax. And the secret that I'm going to share with everybody was that I wasn't doing that. I wasn't taking that time to rest and relax. And I was running 2 businesses and speaking and traveling. And I just got back yesterday from a week vacation with my mom, and I feel so different and so good. And so I was like, oh, this is why I tell my clients to do this all the time. And I need to lead by example. And so taking those breaks, rest when you're tired, don't give up, and just know that it's okay to take some time to yourself to figure things out. So I love all of that. And one thing I want to know from you is like you have such a pulse on where dentistry has been, where it is now, and where it's going in the future. And you're probably one of the most connected people that I know in dentistry, and just kind of have this like vision for what's about to come. So I want to know what you see as coming down the pipeline for the future of dentistry.
Well, thanks for asking that one, because we did pivot, as you know. Dental entrepreneur is now the future of dentistry, and there's so much coming down the pike. I mean, first of all, the innovation, the minds in dentistry are constantly developing new strategy, new products, new innovation. I mean, drill is dentistry, for instance, and maybe someday we'll have a whole world that doesn't need some of the clinical skills that we have right now because of products that have been developed. And that to me is wonderful for the world, for the health of the world. And especially I have a heart for kids. It's some of that stuff I would love to see get into that pediatric space and in mom's hands, and be more across the board, and not just for the people that have money or the people that can go to the dentist every 6 months. That's what I see, because I see that tele dentistry and mobile dentistry is going to be huge in the next in the next not century, but the next what's the word I'm looking, decade. Thank you. Oh, it's been a long day. But anyway, in the next decade. So I think that's really cool. And just, every time I hear of a new invention, I think, wow, that's going to lead to another invention and to another invention. And we were talking earlier, about some other things in the world of health. And if we can help support that, then I think the sky's the limit for dentistry. And it's just going to help everybody. We'd like to get everybody in the mindset of a healthy mouth is a healthy body, and that it's all connected. So I think that the oral health connection, oral systemic connection is going to be also, just is going to explode in the next decade as well.
100%. I think all of these things are so exciting. And I know sometimes when we're looking to the future and, there can be like a mindset of like fear or like lack of abundance, like, oh no, what if things change? What if they don't need me anymore in whatever space you're in? And what I would say to that is operate from a place of service. Like, if you want to be abundant, if you want to make money, if you want to have a successful career or life or start a business, think about what does the world or the industry need right now, and what skills and strengths, like you said, can I leverage from my own to fill that and to give and to serve? Because if we're in service and we're helping people, you will always have a position or you always have a job, you'll always have something to do. And that in turn, I think is kind of like the abundance mindset that I believe in so strongly, is that get into service, and get into your strengths and then know what the future is going to need, and you're always going to be okay. And something that somebody told me a long time ago that I absolutely love is we don't need to be the smartest people in the room. We don't even need to be, the most talented, but what we do need to be is the ability to pivot or the ability to refocus or transition. We need to be able to adapt. And that's really what the future of dentistry is going to need from us, is the ability to adapt and continue to see all of these things that you're saying is coming down the pipeline. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm super, super excited. And I know that I could sit here and talk to you literally all day. Sometimes we do go on very long calls. I want to wrap up and honor your time by asking you, in your space, in everything that you're doing with all of the amazing ways that you're influencing the industry, what is your measure of success?
My measure of success is truly living my calling, which I know what that is, and I've done some work on that through the strengths, and then what is your calling? And my success, or my definition of success, would be to bring love to dentistry, to bring community to dentistry, to bring respect for oneself, and the gifts that I've been given, and to use them, and then to just see that everybody has special talents, everybody is worthy. And if I could bring that, and the mantra that we have is, do small things with great love. It's really, for me, honestly, it's just to see women like you connecting with women, other women that are great, and other men that are, because we love our dudes. We got to put that out there too. But just, I think it all boils down for me is just love. At this point in my career, I'm just trying to bring some goodness to the industry, and really to the world, because we need it, right? And I feel like that's my mission.
Oh my gosh, you exude that every single day. I feel like you're just operating in success from what I know to be true about you. And so if somebody is wanting that support, if they're wanting to work with you in any capacity, like let us know how they can get in touch with you.
Well, they can go to our websites, dentalentrepreneur.com and dew.life, DEW for dental entrepreneur woman, DEW.life, and reach out to me. My contact information is there, because we love you to write for us, to share your story. We're storytellers, and that gives you the expert status. It lives on forever. And some of the other things that it happens when you write your story and you put it on paper, it's cathartic. And so we give you that opportunity to not only put that on paper for yourself, but put it on paper so that someone else might be lifted up, inspired, and hopeful because of what you shared. I've got, the Instagram. We've got Instagram, Allison, and that is at dew.life mag for dental entrepreneur woman, and then at dental entrepreneur or dental entrepreneur media for our other side of our business model.
I love it. And also, I just have to give you a shout out for how amazing you are on your Instagram. I know I've said this to you before, but you show up on your Instagram so authentically and so fantastic. So if you want to know more about Ann Duffy, go and follow her on Instagram. Check out her website. I've just put them into the comments in the live. So you can go click that, find it quickly and easily. And don't hesitate to reach out. And I definitely kind of went through that kind of like imposter syndrome of, am I good enough to write for this magazine? Is my story worthy enough? Like it is, 100% is. You don't know who you're inspiring just by being you.
Exactly, exactly. And I wanted to give a shout out to our retreat that's coming up too. Thanks, Allison. It's like November 10, 11, and 12, half day on the 12th in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so many women like Allison will be there, and it's yummy. And we'd love to have you join us, join our movements to raise women and men in this industry, and just to be a better version of yourself.
I absolutely love it. It is so needed. And I know I'm so excited for the retreat this year. I've only heard amazing, amazing things about it. And just being in the room with all of those amazing women, you won't help but be inspired and uplifted. And I want to honor you for everything that you're doing in the industry. You are like soul sister to me. I absolutely adore you. And I know that together we can create really, really amazing big things. So thank you so much for being on the Career Perspective, and everyone just reach out to Anne. Go and read her magazine also to learn about the other amazing women in the industry. And thank you so much for being on here this week. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Allison. I adore you, and thanks for having me.